Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Final Gaze. My name is Harrison.
And I'm Toby.
And we have with us our first guest of 2021. Richard, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello in podcast land. Hello, everybody. My name's Richard.
Our number one fan. Our only listener.
Your only fan. Well, except for your mom's,
only
right?
fan.
No. Your mom's listen, I hope. So maybe one of three.
So yeah,
no, my mom won't listen. No way.
So when we say, special thanks to our friend Richard for listening and special shout out to our one and only fan, this is exactly who we're talking about.
The 1-star rating guy. No, I'm just kidding. 5 stars for you guys.
Well, again, I don't know what it is with this season already, but third episode in, and we're lying again. But
we've lied like 3 times this year already.
Oh wait, what did you say it was last time? It wasn't lying. It was
surprising. I think.
Surprising.
We're just surprising and
keeping them on their
surprise.
toes.
Mystery podcast, mystery episode.
Something. I don't remember.
One of those words. However, we lied again. We're saving the Wonder Woman 1984 release for the end of the month. So instead, we'll be covering Insidious. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? Let's start with Richard. Richard, this is the part where we usually talk about the first time we ever saw this movie. So, Richard, when was the first time you saw this movie?
About 30-some minutes ago. When we finished it for the first time, about 5 feet away from you. About 20 feet away from where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah, Richard is in the most haunted room of the house, so...
Super spooky.
Thank you for that. I feel really loved right now that you stick me in the most haunted room of your place.
So I don't know. Were you aware of this movie? Did you heard about it?
So I have heard about this movie. My husband actually. So I've always wanted to. I've always wanted to watch horror movies, but I grew up in a very conservative household, and so the closest thing I ever came to scary movies, which Toby would appreciate, my first horror movie was, if you want to call it a horror movie, is Jurassic Park. Actually, that's probably the closest film that I
It has some horrific parts, yeah.
I mean, for as old as I was, because I must have been at least between 6 and 8, I can't remember exactly, but I was pretty young. So for me, that was never being exposed to anything close to being horror. That was pretty horrific.
We have a very similar background.
Yeah. So that was the closest I'd ever gotten to a horror movie. And then I finally, when I was in my 20s, I moved out on my own, tried to do a spooky movie by myself in my, 2-story home where I lived all by myself. Don't laugh. It was Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf.
Okay, all right.
And I was like, nope, not doing this on my own, not doing this by myself. I watched it, and it was as close to a slasher movie as I ever had gotten on my own. So then I finally met somebody, and I thought, oh, finally someone who might actually want to watch horror movies. And my husband, Danny, said, absolutely not. I will never, ever watch a horror movie with you. And apparently, because of his ban on horror movies in our household, is due to Insidious. So naturally, It is very fitting that the first horror movie I watched with you guys for this podcast is Insidious. So
that's crazy.
And I still feel so bad that we went to go see The Invisible Man together. It was me, Danny, and Richard. And Danny thinking that, okay, it's like a sci-fi, fun action movie. And it was, but it was also terrifying as fuck.
Fucking scary.
And that
my God, I can only imagine when, the paint.
Oh, that's the scene that they walked out on.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
now, I am a loving, caring spouse. Unlike his previous boyfriend who exposed him to Insidious, he thought it was hilarious, terrifying Danny through the entire movie of Insidious. And apparently, in the car ride afterwards, his boyfriend thought he was laughing in the car, but he was actually crying. So, see, now I'm the kind boyfriend. I'm the kind husband/boyfriend. I got out of the theater during Invisible Man. I left when it got to be too much. So,
and it's crazy because the moment they left, that's when it turned into the sci-fi action movie. So,
yeah,
but
that's like the turning point for sure.
That's a who knows, an upcoming review for Invisible Man, because it's definitely a horror movie.
I loved it up to the paint scene, and that's as far as I got.
You never finished it?
Never got to finish it. I told Harrison we need to finish it because he texted me afterward and he said, "Just so you know, that was the scariest part of the movie."
Well, all right, Toby. When was the first time you watched Insidious?
I think I watched it on video, actually. I didn't go to the theaters to see it, and it's funny because the first time I thought it was the dumbest movie. I thought it was so stupid, but I think it was like something I put on and wasn't really paying attention to, and so I really only noticed it when they got to the further, and I don't know. I hated it for the longest time, and then one day, for some reason, I rewatched it and, found that I was completely wrong. And I like this movie. It was like when it came on DVD or something.
Did we have another stigmata incident?
No, I was probably just too stoned or something.
Oh, right, gotcha.
Allegedly.
Right. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Do you guys watch Letterkenny?
No.
No, you guys totally should. Final Gaze discuss Letterkenny. It must be done. Watch it, you'll find out what I mean. But all right, so I got a whole story behind Insidious here. Naturally, I caught this at a 7 p.m. Tempe Marketplace. Quite rare again. It figures we would have been in the same theater, but alas, we were not. But this was a time I was living with my stoner roommate. Hardcore stoner. She's the kind of stoner that needed to go get high to go to 7-Eleven. Really, really annoying.
Okay.
Yeah. So her and I, that's the horror fanatic I always talk about. Her and I would, bond over horror. So I would assume that she would understand my respect and plight for arriving at a movie on time. Well, I let her smoke her weed, and I guess she forgot, and we ended up being about 25 minutes late to the movie. I think the scene we arrived at the theater on was moments before the baby monitor scene.
Okay.
So I arrived super late, but that did not stop me from enjoying this movie. It totally caught me off guard, and this was definitely a very super fun theater reaction movie because everyone was nervously laughing, everyone was screaming. It was the most fun I've had in a theater probably since Snakes on a Plane.
That's the best. I love those experiences. I would not have stayed for the movie though if I was 20 minutes late. I would have caught the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I
would never have went. Yeah.
I feel this was kind of at the early point when 7 p.m. screenings were kind of turning into a thing. So they only had the 7 p.m. screenings. There was no 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. So it's like 7 p.m. and that's it. So, but, I don't know. I bet I was pretty pissed, but then the movie kind of made me unpissed. So whatever. And that's the only one of a few movies I was ever late for in my entire life because of weed.
Damn weed. Ruins everything.
Well, geez, how should we begin? We're not going to do a nerdy film score talk because...
the one episode I'm in and you're not going to do nerdy film score?
I mean, I will say this much. This, about the score at least. This hardly ever...
It's unlistenable.
Yeah, it barely constitutes as music.
Is that a word? Maybe not. I don't know.
It is. It should be because that would be what this score is. I mean, it's great because it fits the movie it in, but you just can't. No one ever casually is like, I'm going to put in the Insidious score and clean
while I'm cooking or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it though. I mean, I thought the sound for the film was really good. I just thought it was neat that the composer was actually in the film. That to me, I thought was really neat.
And I have met Joseph Bishara a couple times.
Met him? That's pretty
Yeah, cool. He's teeny tiny. He's like barely taller than me, and he's like so skinny.
Wait, what? Have we talked about this?
So I met him at the Repo Genetic Opera premiere, and then so I met him first there, and then they did like a road show and came to Chandler, and he went there too, and it was cool. He remembered me.
Did he do the music for that, or was he just along for the ride?
Pretty sure he did the music. Pretty sure he did the music for Repo.
Wow.
And he and Darren Bousman, who does the Saw movies, they're like this too. Like
nice. So obviously they kind of met each other through
James Wan.
James
probably.
Wan, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lee Winnell.
Yeah, because I think it's going to be a little unfair for us to talk about the sequels for Insidious, only because Richard hasn't seen the Insidious movies, nor has he seen the Conjuring movies. But pretty much,
Conjuring's fucking scary.
Conjuring is scary, and we're going to do that. We're going to do the Conjuring series leading up to the third film this year because that's
we
coming
can do
out
a weekend of release.
Yeah, so thank you, Warner Brothers. But essentially, Joseph Bishara does do the music for all the movies, except for The Last Key. I think that was Fernando Velasquez. I think.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I didn't really like it. I mean, we got into what's her name's past with that movie, but I did like the monster in that because it wasn't Joseph Bishara who played the monster. It was that really skinny, lanky dude who does all the he played Mama.
Doug something.
Oh no, not him. It's like his other. Like, it's another person who's known for playing, like, really disturbing looking, like, skinny monster creature things. He played Mama in Mama.
Wasn't that Doug?
No, that wasn't Doug. It was, like, some Mexican dude. It's gonna bug the hell out of me.
Oh, some Mexican dude?
Yeah, no, he's from Mexico. But,
racist.
Yeah, Joseph Bishara played the villains in Insidious 1 through 3, as well as Conjuring 1 and 2. And did the music for all 5 of those movies. So, and this wasn't his first musical thing, actually. It's funny because
I don't think so.
His first music thing was like not a Joseph Bishara thing at all. It was like some kind of like family drama. So it was kind of interesting to see his evolution or maybe
I wonder
evolution.
if it's still like just the piano like clanging loudly.
Because I was thinking, oh my, Joseph Bishara did the music for this, and it wasn't even like a horror movie. So, but I will always say that James Wan basically just told Joseph Bishara to sound like Black Christmas, the original Black Christmas. He said, Joey, my friend, listen to the Shining score. A lot of Penderecki, a lot of whoever did the music for Black Christmas, and basically it's just hammers hitting pianos, razors on wires. So, you definitely know Penderecki. You just don't know that it's him. So, but you hate The Shining.
Oh. So I don't hate The Shining. I just think it's overrated and super boring. And I think Doctor Sleep's a better movie.
It is, and we'll probably switch the schedule up.
The director's cut.
There. Oh, absolutely. Director's cut is way better. But The Exorcist.
I'm not a fan.
Oh, well then. I absolutely
I also think
that
that movie's overrated.
Oh, my heart.
I do that a lot to you.
But
You do.
But you liked Wonder Woman 2. Is that what you're
Listen,
telling me? So
I got no.
Shots fired.
And Wonder Woman 2
Richard,
is the top of your list. Is that what
you're gonna come for me? You are first guest
I'm
of
just
the season. You're
saying,
gonna come
I
for
don't
me.
know about all these other movies because I haven't seen them yet. I'm waiting for Harrison to show them to me, but I'm just saying.
How do we kick people out of the meeting? Look, we will discuss Wonder Woman. Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I'm not saying it's a good movie though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens next week. You know,
I just want to take a moment to say this is nice. This is a nice experience because typically I'm either shouting back at my radio or I'm talking back to my radio and you guys don't hear me. So it's just nice to like be able to have comebacks and stuff and say things and you guys actually hear for a change.
Well, in that case, I said we were going to have a Nerdy Film Score talk.
We ended up having one.
But that's pretty much all I have to say. We're not going to do. I can't even reference any tracks on it because it's just go put a fork in your blender and just hit the on button.
And that's it.
There's a score for Insidious.
But it fits.
So.
It fits.
It fits the movie.
It sets
yeah.
the tone for the film, you know? Because I don't think you could get away with like a classical, like...
No. It's very
background.
jarring.
Yeah.
Which I find hilarious because it's like, I think they needed that for The Conjuring, and then they hired Mark Isham to do the less fucked up portions of the score. So I will always...
Are you drinking a White Claw?
A Truly's. And
oh my God.
it's not as good as I thought it was going to. I'm a bitch drinker, so yeah.
Harrison, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking nothing actually because I got pretty I didn't get wasted, but I got pretty drunk while watching Insidious, and I'm like, okay, that's it for me. I don't know if I can continue that. So
Because you texted me and was like, we're drinking.
yeah, and we did. I did. So
yeah, I tried not to go too crazy. I wanted to be semi, presentable for you guys.
Yeah, not like our drunk podcast.
Oh my god!
Maybe the next one we can do it.
That was so awful.
I do look forward to the next one, but I'll try to not repeat myself drunkenly on the next one.
It was
to not forget like what we just said 2 seconds before.
It was hilarious, and I think the best part was like what 2 or 3/4 of the way in, like Harrison just totally starts slurring like every word.
Yeah,
like,
but so was I. Feel like I was slurring the whole time.
You held your own pretty good, but Harrison, you could tell. Yeah, I was like, okay, Harrison lost it.
and the whole Lost World thing, I didn't know what the hell was happening during the episode. It's only after when I listened to it while editing it that I was like, that's why he changed the background. But
it made sense to me.
I was like, oh, dinosaurs. It's just Toby being Toby. But all right. So let's get into the movie. Let's discuss our adult characters first. Let's talk about Conjuring dude. What's his name?
Patrick Wilson. Patrick so fine. Wilson. Great ass if you've seen it.
I have. Have you seen Watchmen, Richard?
I have not, but you've told me that I needed to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he shows his ass left and right in several movies.
I think, yeah, he was like naked in Watchmen, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a nude scene or something.
There was a sex scene, a nude scene. He got blown apart by a nuke. This? I remember first seeing him in Angels in America a long, long time ago, where he played a gay man. So that was pretty interesting.
I remember him in Little Children.
Oh, right. He was in that.
He gives it to Kate Winslet real good in that movie.
I haven't seen it. I've only heard about it. That was a Sam Mendes movie, wasn't it?
It was.
Wow. So naturally, Thomas Newman did the music. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll go with yes. But yeah, no. Solid father character. Solid father. There was not a moment where I doubted the connection between the couple.
I think the couple have great chemistry. I love Rose Byrne personally. I think she's a great actress, and she might be my favorite character. But I do think he was kind of a dick.
How he stayed home, or how he stayed at school.
Yeah, like he wasn't facing it and leaving his wife to try and handle
Harrison
it.
defended him during the film. I said, what?
Of course you did, Harrison.
What did I call him? I said, what? I forgot what I said. But
you said he was a coward.
I like, what a coward.
He was being a coward.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, he stepped it up later, of course, but, he had his redemption.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys also notice, did you also notice that he was very vain in the very beginning? I thought it was really weird that they made, that he was putting cream on. I was like, that's very homosexual of him.
Yeah.
I was like, well, because first they made such a big thing about the gray hair, and then, then the next scene, it's like at night, and he's putting face cream on around his eyes. And
but he was just doing the crow's feet.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's it was an interesting character trait, I thought, that, stood out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, up until the moment where he kind of pieces it all together for himself. He kind of just seemed like okay, babe, I thought these people would help, but they're clearly not. They're making it worse with their their crackpot theories. So yeah, up until the point where he stands up in the further and sees himself. I think up to that point he doesn't even believe any of this.
Yeah, I think he just didn't want to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was an inkling of inside him that felt like this was really happening. He just didn't want it to be happening. He wanted to ignore it. That's why he was staying at school like a little bitch.
So, but aside from that, I really did like him. He became one of those characters in every haunted house movie that was the voice of reason. As much as he tried, as carried that as long as he could.
I mean, I'll give him credit. He did move houses for her.
Mm-hmm.
So I will give him credit. I did feel like they loved each other. I never once doubted them as a married couple or as parents. I think they both did a really great job at presenting a family.
Mm-hmm. And he got the one PG-13 F-bomb.
He did.
Which, of course, adds to your guys' say that, he was a complete dick about it.
Yeah.
So
He was.
I thought the chemistry was really good as well. The acting, I mean, honestly, they were very believable in a very unbelievable situation. I'll be honest with you, though, and I know, like, obviously, like, with the sequels and everything, like, there's a reason why he was the one at the end to be the one to go into the further or whatever. But that was the part that kind of took it away from me, because for the first half of the movie, it's all about the wife and the child's connection. And then I feel like it kind of switches on a dime to then all of a sudden being about him. And honestly, that was the part where I was like, I don't like that we're all of a sudden focusing on him. Because honestly, personally, I was invested in the mom and the child through the first half. And then all of a sudden it became about his backstory and all this other stuff. And I was like, I don't know. That was the only part that I didn't find enjoyable. Again, it makes sense and I understand why they did what they did. But I guess if they had focused more on him instead of her through the first half, I think I would have been a little bit more invested in the second half with him going into the further. But they only lightly referenced the whole picture, him not having pictures of being a kid. So I don't know. To me, when I get invested in a character, I want to follow them through the whole movie. So I think it would have been cool to see her being the badass at the end of the movie going into the further. But again, like, I understand story-wise why they did what they did, but for me,
I completely agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
And much like the tagline for Kill Bill Volume 2, you only know half the picture. Because Insidious and Insidious Part 2 do work as a full movie. Because this does take place immediately right after the incidents of the first movie. And so you do get a lot of blanks filled in. You get a lot of questions that are answered in the second film. You
do, but I feel like the same problem that this movie has, that Richard has, carries on into the second movie as well. The first half does focus on the wife a whole lot, and she's just like all of her struggles. And I think, she quit her singing career or songwriting career to be a stay-at-home mom, right? Yeah, okay. So I would have liked, she's just tormented the whole time and crying and screaming, and she doesn't really do anything at the end. She's just kind of there. So, yeah, I really do think there wasn't a payoff for her, and I would have preferred her to, maybe she went in after him to save her husband or something, something to show that she finally stood up and wasn't afraid, and she really just didn't get that moment, I don't think.
And she's still very much a victim in the second film.
Yeah, I mean, screaming left and right, to be honest.
Did they know that they were filming a second film, or was it purely based off the success of the first film that they decided to start doing sequels?
They had to have planned sequels. I mean, I think... Yeah. Well, I don't know. I have a thing about that because Oren Peli produced this, and Oren Peli made Paranormal Activity for $15,000, and that was wildly successful. Backstory on Insidious, before promotional material, trailers, all that jazz, posters, this film cost only $900,000 to make.
And it was only filmed in 3 weeks.
Only filmed in 3 weeks.
That's crazy.
And we'll talk about that. We will definitely talk about that, especially with the further. And so I feel they had to have known it was going to be successful. Only because this was like right at the start of indie horror starting to be really successful. Because at this point, we're like on Saw, 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah,
haunted house movies are becoming a thing now. So they were just, I don't think they would have ended it the way they did if they weren't going to be, making a sequel.
I mean, I think they left it open for a sequel. I think a lot of horror movies do that. But I don't know if they necessarily... I mean, it's hard to say because in the second movie, and I don't want to spoil it because Richard hasn't seen it, it is so intertwined with this movie that it's hard to think that they didn't write the whole thing in one go. But I could also believe that they would go back and kind of... they do kind of retcon some stuff.
Yeah. I bet you the one thing they regret doing is killing...
Oh,
Oh yeah.
They've already said it. The studio did say, or whoever producer said, that's their biggest regret is killing her. And I bet at some point they're gonna find a way to bring her back. I mean, they do in prequel.
Well, it makes sense why, because now I was asking Harrison why the hell it was all screwed up, where chapter 3 or 2 takes place before chapter 1, and I don't know.
Because technically it's 4, 3, 1, 2, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and then a fifth one.
I think they're gonna bring her back.
Yeah, and the fifth one is going to be a direct sequel to 2. So now it's 4, 3, 1, 2, 5.
I'm kind of not pissed, but like I read. So the cast is only Patrick Wilson and Ty Simpkins, who's the kid. No Rose Byrne. I mean, who gives a fuck about that other middle kid? He gets no plot line at all. I always forget that he's there, but no Rose Byrne? At least a cameo.
I can totally see them being like, yeah, we got divorced.
Because my husband was a fucking demon and tried to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
And also killed someone, also killed Elise.
Is she not coming back for a reason?
He's a murderer. I don't know. That's all I read was that it was about him and the son. They didn't list any other cast members.
Mm-hmm.
I am really excited though that Patrick Wilson is directing and that the Dalton actor is coming back. So that's, I mean, we'll just see what happens.
He grew up. I'll just say.
Yeah, he is. He's got a mustache.
Wait, how old
now.
is he now?
He's 18. Don't worry.
Okay, thank God.
that happened.
Pressures on him now.
Yeah, what happened in another movie, didn't it? Where it's like,
because if he comes back to Iron Man, I'm gonna want to be the ability.
I mean, he's in Endgame for like 3 seconds.
I didn't even know that was him.
Though. Yeah, that's on purpose though.
He's gonna come back. I think.
He's gonna come back as like Ironheart or something like that. I read. I forgot. I don't follow the comics, but
totally off topic. But did you guys watch WandaVision?
I did.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh, seeing the Marvel like credits again just brought a bright light into this hellscape that we're living in.
Super awesome seeing all that.
And Falcon and Winter Soldier are going to, or whatever, I forgot what his character's name is, but whatever that show is going to be called. I think that's going to really get the momentum up for Black Widow.
Yes.
And did you guys see in Loki? I know again we're going off topic, but finally something I can talk more about. But the Loki trailer, Black Widow, you can see her on
I saw
her.
Yeah. Just sitting there all sad.
They're gonna bring her back. They gotta bring her back.
She has to. I was fucking pissed when she died.
Because what if Black Widow is like a huge success? You know they gotta do sequels.
You know she wants to come back.
Yeah. I wonder if she's like on Vormir, like remembering, or I don't know. I'm curious to see how they start Black Widow the film.
If they wanted to bring her back, they would. I know that Black Widow's a prequel, and they're saying, her sister, I forget her name, she's an amazing actress though, is gonna like be the new Black Widow going forward. And I guess she has a cameo in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Interesting.
Well, we all know that Marvel has a plan. So if anything, trust in Marvel.
And DC can just suck ass.
I don't like DC. I don't care for DC.
And you know what's sad? And this is probably going to end up being a totally spin-off podcast episode. But I will just say, I grew up loving Batman way before I ever loved any of the Avenger characters. Spider-Man was the only other one. It was Spider-Man and Batman. And I grew up loving Batman. And aside from the Dark Knight series and the Joker was pretty good. But again, those two are not connected to the DCU. And
my favorite DC movie is Batman Returns. I think the best Penguin, the best Catwoman, the best Batman. But that's just my opinion. After that, it just...
Yeah.
I think the only thing that can save DC now is if they truly accept the nostalgia and accept that the Michael Keaton Batman can still be canon and do what is that? Elder Batman?
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond.
Yes.
That would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? He's been playing bird people in all of his movies recently. Batman, Birdman.
He has. Oh shit! The Vulture.
Vulture.
That's fucking hilarious.
And bring him back.
He's making a comeback. I feel like a lot of those older actors that kind of like were kind of put back on the shelf after their younger
after the 90s
acting careers. Yeah, they're all coming back and making big comebacks. So I think
love
that'd
it.
be great.
Except Tom Sizemore.
Meh.
Well, all right.
Well,
let's just swing it back to Insidious.
The original film, Insidious.
Let's talk about the kids for a second.
So
That
I
baby's
have something
annoying.
to say. Because I know Toby, you and I are probably going to agree on this. I absolutely despise. I'm going to preface this by saying I absolutely despise child actors. I cannot stand child actors in almost all films.
Mm-hmm.
Anakin Skywalker, perfect example in Phantom Menace.
God.
I just wanted to reach into the screen, and I was a teenager at the time. I was a young, I don't even know if I was a teenager yet. I just remember despising that kid and his acting. It was so atrocious.
Yes.
But I'll be honest, the kids in this film, specifically Ty Simpkins or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
I thought the acting, even of the kid that had hardly any part except for that one scene.
He really tried.
It was believable.
To
me it was. I thought the acting of the kids was impressive. Like, if I can get through a movie with kid actors and not be annoyed and find them semi-believable, I'm like, okay, kudos.
Agreed. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say it's funny because I think the kids were fine. I think I found the Dalton actor to be way more annoying in Jurassic World.
Oh my God, they don't say it, but he's a fucking autistic kid, right? He's on the spectrum somewhere.
Yeah.
And
he is annoying.
His character.
His character in Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive for an actor.
Yeah, but also there a lot of fault has to be given to Nick Robinson's character too. But
I didn't like either of them in Jurassic World, but that is a difference.
We know why they were there. They were there for marketing purposes. We gotta appeal to the children. I think
the best kid actors is Tim and Lex from Jurassic Park.
I will agree. Yeah, I will agree. They were very believable and especially back then, because that was before computer effects or anything were anywhere near what they are today.
Mm-hmm.
I
believe them. I believe they were more in danger in Jurassic Park than Nick Robinson and the Dalton character were in Jurassic World.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question though. Jurassic Park, aside from that film, wasn't that the first film that really the kids have to fuck it up? Because I feel like every film after that, there has to be a signature kid in the film
who fucks something up.
There has to be here's the kid that's gonna do something stupid that's gonna create some issue that the parent's gonna have to or the adult in the.
Are you talking about Lex with a flashlight? I feel like that's the only thing they fuck up, because really the kid saves the day at the end with the hack, Lex.
True. I just feel like every film after that had to have, specifically the Jurassic series, the Jurassic franchise.
Well, The Lost World for sure.
Yeah, you have to have a signature kid that's in peril that the parent has to try to save in the film, and then every film after that, and then other franchise, I feel like there's always that kid, and it's in fact, that's one of the reasons Danny and I have decided not to have children, because they're just going to put us in some life-endangering situation.
They'll fuck shit up.
Right?
They're
so
don't
selfish.
Point
the flashlight at the T-Rex.
At the T-Rex.
People. Don't breed. That's the PSA for the final.
Now's not the time to do gymnastics with Velociraptor.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you say that, because apparently the 80s just didn't give a fuck,
Did not.
Oh, vampires? Okay, fuck it, kids. Fight them, Lost Boys. Oh, you gotta save your parents from realtors? Oh, the Goonies,
The Goonies.
Newt?
Newt. Oh, fuck Newt.
What?
She's alright.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't well, I don't know. That'll be for aliens talk.
That's for aliens.
Yeah.
I didn't like the baby. I thought the baby was so noisy and just tried to steal every scene she was in. I just didn't care for her.
That was significant, though, because I know for a fact that one of the things that a lot of people with the spiritual encounters and stuff, they often say babies can have those experiences. So I mean, I would say it makes sense that they would have that kind of thing to sense that in animals, like dogs. I know they often have them portray that kind of encounter.
Yeah, I do think the scene where the baby's in peril, where Rose Byrne's character is listening to the baby monitor, that is really effective. When you're hearing the voice, that's fucking scary.
Oh, wow. And interesting. Maybe that's why she's crying all the time. She sees all these things.
Well, yeah, that's
I'm picking that up.
That's what I assumed too. I just think it was grating on my ears. Control yourself.
Why did you take the sound of kids crying? So.
And as we all know, Toby was a very quiet baby.
I was. I was a great, very quiet baby.
Yeah, I mean, that's it for the kids. I think they did fine. I think they were more annoying in other movies, but especially for like, I mean, I don't think this was his first project, but it was like his first, their first big project movie-wise where they got lines and had to do shit. Yeah, they did a solid job. So let's talk about my favorite character. No, actually, we'll say that for last. Favorite characters. Lee Winnell and Angus, I don't want to say Scrim, but someone. Specs and... I don't know, the Mormon. The Mormons.
I think Lee Winnell is so attractive.
Oh, yes.
I'm not shocked by that.
So
Harrison told me.
cute.
He said,
oh
that's Toby's man right there.
Yeah. I'm so glad he's in the other ones, too.
And yeah, that in itself is also very awesome, too, because you have a very successful story. I mean, yeah, he got his start with Saw, but his character... Oh, spoilers for a movie that's however many years old.
2000?
He dies. Yeah, 2001, 2000, 21 years. My Lord, has it really been 21 years?
We're old.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, that he kind of had like, a renaissance there, because he wrote Saw movies after that, right? And then did he collaborate more with James Wan on like Death Sentence and...
I'm pretty sure he did. And then... I didn't hear from Lee Winnell for a while. He was just like producing the Saw movie, executive producer.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, and then he did some action movie I haven't seen. It was an indie movie, and
Upgrade?
it just like Upgrade, and that I feel like shot him. Then he got The Invisible Man, and I'm so happy for him that it was so successful.
It was so great.
And now he's doing The Wolfman, I think, right?
Oh, thank goodness! I didn't know about
I think he's doing The Wolfman. So happy for him.
Very happy.
He's super cute.
And it's funny because I didn't well, admittedly, when I did see this, even before the quarantine, because I know I did a whole series rewatch last year in the middle of quarantine. This was before I was watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. Now which
you abandoned.
Which I abandoned. So I'll admit that. But we caught on to the Star Trek reference, little Starfleet toy. So I was just kind of thinking, of course, that would make Toby love him even more.
He looks over at me and he goes, "That was a Star Trek reference, right?" And I was like, "Oh God, yes, that was."
So with Specs and the other one in my mind, especially in the second one, I feel like they're a couple. Like that's my headcanon is that they're together secretly. Especially in the second one, because in this, okay, I can't spoil it, but whatever. I feel like in my mind they're a couple.
I can buy that.
I think when they come in, though, there's like a lot of reviews I've read, especially when it came out, there's like a turn in the movie. The first half of the movie is a straight up horror poltergeist movie, and it is really scary, but then you get to them. When those two show up with the lease, the movie completely changes, and it becomes more of a sci-fi kind of fantasy type movie. Very Dream Warriors-ish, I think. And I think that's where it loses a lot of people. Because they come in and the tone changes because they're funny and cute and everyone's kind of bumbling around. And I feel like if you accept that, then you'll enjoy the rest of the movie. But I know it's hard for a lot of people when that kind of change happened.
I will say that much. Yeah, no, I will say that much. When I first watched it, I'm like, okay, I'm here. It's a great horror movie. And then there was just that moment where they had the conversation, and when they mentioned spectral, what's that thing? Astral projection. I sort of like did that thing where I was like, I invested and then I leaned back. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And I tried to hold on, and I did. I mean, I appreciated it because of its indie roots, and I was invested in it because of all the great things that it was doing for horror movies in the first half. And I can definitely be like, oh wow, this is freaking stupid. Like I can see why maybe upon your first viewing, Toby, that's
why I think that's why I thought it was fucking dumb. Yeah, like Ghostbusters kind of something.
It's funny, Toby, because I had literally texted Danny almost the exact same thing because he's been like intense on his phone waiting for me to tell him if I thought I was like scared out of my heebie-jeebies or whatever. And he goes, "What did you think?" And I said it was jump scares and then turned into a Star Trek Twilight Zone episode at the end.
That is a good
yeah.
Twilight Zone. That is a perfect explanation.
Because I think Star Trek, because of like, you know, there's a lot of episodes that have really nothing to do with space, and like they all have to do with like different dimensions,
pleasure
and, like,
planets,
finding
and shit.
finding aliens in some like alternate reality or whatever. And like it was like a Star Trek episode mixed with a Twilight Zone episode at the end, because you had the comedic relief, you know.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's when it switched, because the whole first half, I was not like literally scared to death, but like it was like, okay, that was like thriller, like a thriller type movie, jump scare type vibe. And there were a few moments that I think I like jolted a little bit, but I don't know, Harrison, I don't think I reacted very much through the whole film.
Yeah, no, you didn't at all. So I remember I was doing that thing where I was just kind of looking over, like,
I do that too when I show Brian something new.
And I did have a different experience watching it the first time. I think it's way more effective in a theater with a sold out crowd, which is exactly what it was. And I will say, huh?
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh no, I was about to say, my thing is, even to today, even watching it nowadays, I still get that chill on certain scenes.
I mean, there's one scene that gets me every time. Well, okay, no, there's two, right? And it takes place within 5 seconds of each other.
Yeah, well, let's just jump right into it, because it seems to be the natural segue. Let's discuss the jump scares, because they are jump scares.
A lot of jump scares in this movie.
So yeah, which one are you referencing?
So the first one that when I was like, holy fuck, that's scary. And you already know this about me, is when Barbara Hershey is describing her dream, where she, and they open the door and you see the lipstick demon standing there, just the outline of him, the Darth Maul. You saw Darth Maul, his silhouette, fucking scary.
With his new hoof feet, now that his half has been cut off.
You're right. Shared universe. Oh my god.
I call it, yeah.
Fuck, I lost my...
Sorry.
Anyway, okay, yeah.
I thought that was a good...
I mean, that's like my worst nightmare, is walking into a room and seeing like the silhouette of a monster or a man or something. And then, of course, when she actually sees the demon behind Patrick Wilson. I mean, that is like such a heebie-jeebies, and it's in broad daylight in such a plain-looking scene, just sitting at a kitchen table. So it's so unexpected. And that got me. Even the first time I saw it, that got me.
Oh, God. Yeah, that... I told Richard, and I'm very comfortable, saying this, but I think that is definitely on a lot of like top 10 list of greatest jump scares in cinema history, because it is set up so perfectly. The execution of that is flawless. That's the one thing James Wan has done for horror in general, is that he has raised the bar with his haunted house movies, specifically in Insidious 2, Conjuring 2.
And it's not even anyone jumping out at you, right? No. It's like, it's literally just a face behind Patrick Wilson, making a scary face, but nothing's like, rah. Yeah. So it just is so effective because of how normal everything around it looks, I think.
For me, the two jump scares that got me, and still get me today, the first one is the baby monitor scene. Just the way the voice comes through, like, I want it. It was terrifying.
Fucking baby.
And the second one, and I think the part where you see the lipstick face demon behind her is the best jump scare in the movie. This comes a very close fucking second. And it's the front door alarm scene when you see the man in the baby's room.
Yes. Yeah. That's a scary one.
Let me explain why I like it. One thing I like about this movie is, it developed like the formula for jump scares. And the key to a jump scare is, ooh, distraction, and the scare comes from, it's the fucking raptor logic,
I was just gonna say,
So we think the danger is downstairs, because that's where
out the
everything's
door or
happening.
Something. Yeah.
And the last thing we expect is danger to be upstairs, and that's exactly what happens. And the best thing about that scare is that you have like a second or two to see it, and not react to it. And then the moment you see it, it's too late.
Tingling though. Yeah.
And then that's when the music scene comes in, and it's just, and all that's happening is the guy is just standing there.
It's just his pale face, you know, and the baby in peril. I hate babies, but like I can see like a mother's worry for this little baby. I'm on the scene really quick, which I think is so good and just shows like how good the acting is when Rose Byrne is like, "You don't believe me, you don't believe," and Patrick Wilson's like, "I moved houses for you."
Is that the F-bomb scene?
I think so. Yeah. I also want to say they're barely noticing Ty Simpkins' drawings.
Right.
Like, you don't know your child is drawing like all these demons and they're all over the wall.
Richard pointed that out, actually.
Yeah, I was like, they're just, I mean, they've moved homes, so obviously he drew those.
They would have seen it
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little unbelievable.
It's like a song. What's this devil looking thing here?
Wouldn't he be like in Child Protective Services by now, like, or like with some like school counselor? Like, I mean, because when Haley Joel Osment's character in The Sixth Sense, I mean, he was drawing like knives in the back of people's heads.
Yeah,
I mean, he was already at the school's counselor by that point.
You're right.
So why would they put him up? Like, what a pretty picture of a demon child. Like.
And it's funny because when Elise comes in, I'm like, "Oh, look who it is, my favorite character," and he's all like, "Oh, Child Protective Services is here."
Finally.
Yeah. But Richard, did you have any favorite jump scares?
So,
like, are ones that got you?
You know, okay, so going into this film, because, and maybe a large part of why I'm a little let down in the scare factor is because I think I was probably like clenching my like asshole through the whole film, like just bracing myself for like anything that potentially could scare the shit out of me. Like, I was just bracing for every single scene, and so maybe that's why every scene like didn't really hit me. I would say like the first montage of like the credits or whatever, like the very beginning, the title sequence, gave me like taking the cartoon characters out of it, like Haunted Mansion ride, like you know, scares.
Spooky. It's just spooky.
Yeah, it was just spooky. I was like, ooh, okay, you know, like, I feel like I'm on the Haunted Mansion ride, you know? Honestly, the first one that kind of made me feel a little something in my gut was right at the very end of the baby monitor scene, when you see the face. Because for me, and this is honestly, don't laugh, but for me, Signs creeped me the fuck out. Like, Signs
is so scary.
I have a funny story about Signs. But I had to sleep in, so my dad was out of town and my mom and I watched the movie Signs. I was still I was not a teenager yet, or I feel like I don't know. Anyway, all I know is I couldn't sleep by myself the night that we watched Signs. My dad was out of town and I went and slept in the bed with my mom because I was freaked the fuck out, because I'm a firm believer in like extraterrestrials. Scared the living daylights out of me. For me though, the reason I bring that up is because in horror movies, I heard when Signs came out, they were like, well, what's really terrifying is what you don't see. It's not what you are seeing, it's what you are not seeing that's actually freaky. And so for me, honestly, the most terrifying bits of this film were the face behind the baby, I don't know what you'd call it, that thing that was around the bed.
Sheer or something.
Yeah, that because that was like a split second. And then probably the I had it on the tip of my brain. When she woke up in bed screaming, and then the body walking out on the balcony. For me, that was the scariest. Those were the two scariest scenes for me. Once he came in the bedroom, I was like, it wasn't scary anymore, because then all of a sudden he was like a real person, and I was like, okay, now it's just a good makeup job, you know. Yeah. But when you just saw the body walking back and forth, I was like, oh shit, like.
See, and I like that because it follows that, you know, the formula. You feel the threat is outside, and it sets you up with that, you know, going back and forth. It's like, okay, so you expect it to go walk back again, but suddenly it just appears in the side. So it's like, that's what I love about that formula.
That brings me to one point where you said it kind of didn't get scary once he was already in the room. I feel like they don't, and it lasts for all the movies, I think, don't know their own rules. Like they don't stick to a particular kind of rule of how you interact with the ghosts. So for some reason, the ghosts can be physically hurt you. Like in real life, you know, they can lick your face and all that shit, which I don't know, it just didn't mesh with me. Or I just didn't get it. Like it didn't feel like it should be so human, you know?
Yeah.
Like a great example is the end scene when they're literally trying to stop them from coming out of the closet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was very old-time horror movie, not scary at all for me. Same with when they're doing the seance or what, I don't know what you'd call it, but whenever they're doing the seance thing, the scary part.
We need to talk about that. We got to talk about that.
Yeah, let's jump into it now.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, for the scary parts of the seance was when you didn't see honestly, that was probably the scariest for me, is because you're not seeing like the entity that's like controlling him, and then like they showed the camera where it was like they got a glimpse of the demon like controlling him. To me, that was scary. But
that is scary,
showing the actual humans like in the further or whatever, I was like, okay, that's a good makeup job. Like, but it didn't freak me out.
Yeah.
Nothing in the further ever scares me. I think it's just too.
It's too kooky.
It's too out there. Yeah, it's too out there to be scary.
Addams Family.
Yeah, and you know, the white makeup and all that.
Because I will say, like, you know, about the seance scene, that is where, at least my audience, the nervous laughter stopped, and it was just laughter. Like, what the fuck is this bitch doing? Is she about to... What's that thing called where you put the mask on and you light up and it's like...
I told you, she was
concerned
about she was concerned about COVID. She was
she's a high risk.
Yeah. COVID in the further, you know? She was protecting herself from the Rona.
These ghosts died somehow.
Oh my gosh.
That's so terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, I do have to say, the gas mask, it's a cool visual and it is kind of spooky, but the explanation of why she has it, I think, is really dumb. I think it's...
Why did they...
Is that explained in a sequel?
Well, no. It's like she uses it because she's going to talk so low. And in order to hear her translating what she's seeing, he needs to put the headphones on, and so he can hear it through the tube. Like, that's it, though. It's just so that he can hear her whispering or something.
Yeah. Like, it appears in the background shot of some shots. I don't think... Because I'm kind of forgetting what happens in a lot of the sequels, but...
it appears in the second one in the background, in the background.
Okay. But yeah, no, I think that was definitely the part where, for me at least, that was like, either you're going to take this really seriously or you're just going to laugh at it. And I think a lot of people laughed at it, which is fine. You know, I mean, again, visually it looks great. I think the parts where the demon starts communicating through, you know, the writing is really neat. Like, you bitch.
I wanted to see more of what he was writing, like tear the flesh and all that stuff. I wanted to see... Yeah, I wanted to see more of that, but they kind of shied away.
And then it just goes full balls to the wall, you know, force
superpower.
Yeah.
Force powers, yeah.
Yeah, like this guy. And again, I think Richard was right. The creepiest part of it is seeing the demon in the video after.
And when you see that picture, like retroactively, when, you know, the part where the son that no one cares about, the brother... he says, I don't like it when Dalton walks around at night. Thinking back on it, it is scary to think that it's not Dalton walking around. It's the demon walking around the house puppeting him. And that is a scary thought. I think. It goes back to something you don't see that is scary.
That's a very creepy line too, you know. So I know I definitely liked it, you know. It was like, I mean, that's what he does, but...
It was very Sixth Sense. I mean, honestly, the whole thing, I was thinking the whole time, like, this is a lot like Sixth Sense, like, through the whole thing.
When do you see him walk? He mostly walks at night. Mostly.
So dumb.
So let's talk about Elise.
I love Elise.
She is this universe's Lorraine Warren.
Yes, I think I like Lorraine a little bit more for some reason. I like the Warrens as a couple, I think, more than these two. But Elise is I don't know how she works because she's so kooky and it's just so out there. But for some reason, I go with it. I don't know. You like her, and I was, you know, it got me when she died. Like, I didn't want her to die. I actually cared about her. And I know why, like, I can see why she still carries the whole franchise. Like, she's in every fucking movie.
She is literally carrying this franchise
it's her franchise, and I love that it's an older woman has her own franchise that is really successful.
And it's kind of weird that it is, because I guess Hollywood... No, I mean, I love that it is. But Hollywood's, I guess, idea of a leading lady having a horror franchise is that she needs to have a sexy bra scene. And she had one in... I think it was the fourth one.
I haven't seen it yet.
The
but
old lady has a sexy bra scene, or is it?
I guess I'm looking forward
version
to
of
it.
her? Oh, okay.
No, there
We better
is...
cover
Yeah.
it then, 'cause-
And I was like... yeah, I'm okay, because there was like a story element to it, but it was all like, did we really need to see this lady in her bra?
I mean, it's a horror movie, so naturally.
It's a horror movie, you have
why isn't
to.
she not? Why is she topless? I mean,
The whole time.
So I thought that was just the most... And I think that was the one that was rated R, funnily enough. Or I forget if it was all PG-13, but I don't know. But it was one of the ones I didn't like. It could have been the fourth one, I think, because that really went into her history. So, but yeah, no, I absolutely love Elise. I love the actress, actually.
Lynn Shay.
Lynn Shay.
Horror icon.
Yeah. I was just telling Richard about it, that, she was in A Nightmare on Elm Street for a little tiny bit.
Well, she's Bob Shay's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob Shay is with the, CEO of New Line? When it was New Line?
When it was New Line. I'll always forget Bob Shay being in the leather bar in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. The gayest horror movie ever. How we are going to cover that eventually.
I hope so, yeah.
Because if it was one out of all the franchises we've touched, we have yet to touch a single Freddy movie. So
that's true.
And I've actually seen...
You have?
First one. I actually got
the first
one, yeah.
But you haven't seen the gayest one.
You got to see it. You'll love it. A man comes out of a man.
Mm-hmm. The unofficial Scream Queen.
The unofficial Scream. I do want to just mention really quick Barbara Hershey, who plays the husband's mom. Or mom, yeah. Was in... Did you ever see Entity? Mm-mm. She was in a very similar movie, and I feel like it's cool that they kind of cast her in this, because she played a victim in a very similar 80s ghost movie where she was like raped by a ghost and stuff, and it was pretty horrific. And so that was cool that they put her into this. It's
kind of funny that you mentioned that, because Scream Factory just released a collector's edition of The Entity last year in December. So recent.
It's a good movie. I recommend it.
Yeah, I just haven't seen it yet. So
it's dated, but
Yeah, I know how important it was. And honestly, I don't remember seeing Barbara Hershey in much. We looked her up. She was in Black Swan. Beaches. Yeah, I remember that movie vaguely.
Beaches.
She tore my heart out in Beaches. Oh my god.
I was gonna say I haven't seen her in anything, but I swear Lynn Shay. The only thing I recognized her from was ER and Frasier, because I was like, wow, she looked familiar. Of course, not in horror movies, but or no, not horror things. But Barbara Hershey looks so familiar to me. But I looked her up and I was like, okay, I haven't seen her in anything. But both of them, both of the older female actresses, phenomenal. I mean, just loved them both.
I do. I mean, at least with those two. I mean, with Rose Byrne, she's just screaming all the time. I know she can play a strong person, but I do love that Lynn Shay is so brave. And so is the mom. Like, they're scared, but especially in the second one, you'll see more. Like, even though there's something so terrifying happen, they just, go for it. They don't shy away. Lynn Shay, I think, is just... I don't know. I just think it's so cool that the older women who normally they're the most frail, you have to protect them and stuff, are the ones that are like leading the charge and kind of keeping everyone grounded.
That seems to be a staple in a lot of, especially what this movie references a lot is a lot of 80s, paranormal movies, because we got Little Munchkin from Poltergeist.
yes. Which this movie owes a lot to. I mean, they take so much from Poltergeist.
Yeah.
I think they're what makes this movie believable. I mean, because I think if you had actresses who weren't believable. I think honestly, like that's where the movie would they came in right at the point where the movie would have fallen apart, because now they're
Yeah.
revealing like, okay, here's what's actually going on. And I think, it's kind of like one of those situations where, like, you have this famous actor standing in front of a blue screen doing something ridiculous, but they're such a good actor that they can like make you believe like
Yeah.
whatever fake things going on in the film. If you had unbelievable actresses playing those parts, I don't think they could have carried the audience into like, oh, this is what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Because if you actually listen to the dialogue, like, to me, I mean, to me it sounds ridiculous, but she played it very like believing
the line
in
reading.
what she's saying. Yeah, exactly. Because like even like I Love Lucy, like the writers of I Love Lucy said, you could carry an audience as far as you want them to go, as long as whatever it is that you're trying to get them to, wherever the end goal is, you explain to them, this is how we got from A to B to C to D, and you have to make sure every step of the way is believable. And I think they're what transitioned from like mystery into, okay, here's what's actually happening, and it's not far-fetched, because it's believable
because
what
these
they're
women
saying.
are because you trust these women. I want Lynche to hug me. And I think the first half of the movie is so grounded in reality, I think. And so like you said, when it gets to the second part, those two keep it somewhat grounded in reality,
even though it gets into the real weird Twilight Zone type environment. Okay, but it's believable because the way these people are acting, they make it feel like what they're saying is true.
They're actually in peril. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're such a demanding, the demanding yet respected screen presence, that I think that's partially why I accepted that. Okay, astral projection. Okay, the further. Okay, fucking shine a light on him. We can't let these ghosts get into him. So I think if it was coming from anyone else but Lin Shaye, it probably
could have fallen
faltered,
apart. Yeah.
And Barbara Hershey sold it with the whole dream sequence and everything. I think
her reading of that, well,
because you said that was the single, Harrison, you said that was the single most, well, at least for you said that was the single most like amazing scene ever in film.
Oh, I mean, I think it was the single greatest jump scare in cinematic history. Yeah. I mean, others come pretty close, but like I think
I think there's one that beats it.
Which one?
When the raptor comes out of the power panel with Ellie. I think that is the best jump scare ever. Because you're so happy for her, the power's back on, and then boom, right behind her. Come on, whatever.
Top five.
I mean, my mom didn't see it coming, because through the whole first screening of Jurassic Park for me, she kept telling me, close your eyes. And then I kept going like this through the whole thing, like through the whole film.
You see, I think Signs also. Yeah. Signs, when you see it, when she's like, there's a monster outside when you see it on the roof, I mean, that's the alley scene, of course.
I'm trying to think of what would be like number one for me, and I know what it is, but you're gonna hate me for saying it. I think it's the telephone scene where the guy is listening to the recording in The Exorcist.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a very early version of this formula that I love so much for Insidious, because the voice is turned down so low that you as an audience is leaning in. I know it because I watched it at home and I was like, what is it saying? And then suddenly the phone rings and it's louder than the audio, and that got me for a movie that was made 40 years ago now. 40 years ago now, right? No. 45 about. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
So on the weekends, so I would go over to my grandmother's, and she so for me, one of the scariest things that sticks with me back from when I was a little kid, even before Jurassic Park, was my grandmother loved the Twilight Zone. And I would go over to her house on the weekends every now and then. And there, that back in the day before there was cable, there was like nothing on television. And I remember I was a little kid, and there was this random episode of the Twilight Zone, and my mom wasn't around. My grandmother just let me watch it, and it was the freakiest episode, because honestly I had no clue what I was watching, or that it was even remotely like horror-ish. And it was this old lady who kept getting random phone calls on her house phone. and she, and this was obviously like landlines, and this was filmed like back in like the 40s or the 50s, and it was freaky because she kept hearing like this deep breathing on the phone every time she answered the phone. Anyway, go through the whole episode. She ends up figuring out the address of where the call was coming from. And it was the freakiest jump scare because it was like she's driving and she gets there and you make it look like you're going to see like a building or something. And it was the phone line that was in the ground where a grave site was. And that scared, I was a little kid, and I was at that age where I finally was starting to understand like death, and like that honestly, that haunts me from.
That's scary.
And I
actually.
remember because they actually had like they just showed her face, and then the reason it was a jump scare was because the way it was filmed, like they did the whole screeching, that screeching sound effect that they do in the horror movies when like they show something scary all of a sudden, and it was just like the phone line going into the ground where the grave was, and it scared the living daylights out of me. But honestly, for me, that was the scariest. That was the scariest scene, and that still haunts me to this day. That black and white
still
scene.
that.
Wasn't that part of the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark book?
Maybe.
It sounded so familiar.
I don't know.
For a second, I thought we were going to be like.
I mean, which
Black
one?
Christmas
There's a lot of them.
No, I
was gonna be like. I thought you were gonna be like, the call's coming from inside the house.
No, but it was like one of the original Twilight Zone episodes, and it was there was I think what was creepy. It was just like. And I think at one point, like, it said her name, and then...
was her name Piggy Cunt?
I have no... I know. But,
let me lick it.
Honestly, yeah, that jump scare. And it was so simple, too. I mean, it was a black and white, like, not even... It was, like, even during the day. I remember, like, the scene was, like, during the day. But I just knew as a little kid the idea of a phone line going into a grave and some dead person being able to talk to her. Oh, it just...
what that meant, yeah.
Yeah, that haunts me still to this day.
Nice.
When I was a child, I could not hear that theme song. It scared the shit out of me. Every time it would come on, I was like, no, I'd run away.
Yeah, it's creepy but simple. It's simple but creepy, I should say.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Halloween's theme, creepy but simple. Yeah. Jaws.
Mm-hmm. And, going back to Jurassic Park,
Speaking of, I just got a new figure. Sorry, I had to say.
Oh,
new raptor figure.
No, yeah, show it to us after this. I can't see Jurassic Park as a horror movie. I acknowledge that it can be, but not once.
I don't say it's a horror movie.
Oh yeah, but even the scene with the raptor coming through the wires. It didn't scare me.
You wouldn't classify it as a creature feature? Because
No.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's not a horror movie. I'm saying I'm acknowledging that it can be, because it is a monster movie technically, because there are horror elements in it. But I just wasn't really scared of Jurassic Park. Which makes sense considering I think we all had different upbringing, because at that time I was watching all types of crazy shit. So
yeah. I'd say it's like an adventure thriller, right?
Yeah, I mean. Honestly, it could still be credited as adventure horror, and it would still be accurate. I'm just saying that jump scare wise, that scene didn't quite do it for me.
Yeah.
But
well, whatever.
But I respect it and I love it. You can't shit talk Jurassic Park. You can shit talk Jurassic Park 3 and The Lost World and Fallen Kingdom.
World is where you started to lose me, but Jurassic Park 3,
Honestly, I'd rather watch Jurassic Park 3 than The Lost World.
Yes. Okay. Don Davis.
The original story for Jurassic Park 3 was so much better than what they ended up doing. Do you guys know what it was supposed to be?
No, what was it?
So it was supposed to be a plane full of college students crashes on the island, and then I guess for some reason they go and try and save them. But it was supposed to be like a bunch of teenagers or something trapped on the island getting picked off.
And that just
I would have liked to see that.
And that just got downsized to one.
Just the one who was so annoying.
Yeah. Interesting. That would have been interesting.
I hated that kid. Another example, that kid and the kid for Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars Phantom Menace. Those two kids oh my god. Horrible.
When the pterodactyl took him, I was like, just
fucking take him.
Kill him.
He got him. Sorry. I'm not going back.
Oh my god.
Well, anyway, I just got to the part where you get to the lipstick demon. Do you want to talk about him? Yeah. Or maybe the villains of the movie?
Yeah, I was about to say, let's jump right into the villain. Darth Maul, our cousin to Darth Maul. Yeah, let's begin. What do we think about him or it?
I mean, he's effective. He does look a lot like Darth Maul, and I guess it took me a while or several viewings to realize. I mean, he's called the lipstick demon, but it still took me a while to realize that the red on him is because he just painted lipstick on him.
Like, I didn't actually think it was lipstick. I thought, for instance, it was just his skin color, and then he was just like, a very Darth Maul-y, like this red skin with the black kind of like parts everywhere. But
apparently he's all black, and he just...
Interesting.
I mean,
I do love him.
I was going to say, it's a creepy makeup job. I mean, I thought that was done well.
When he's sharpening his whatever claws, I like that detail.
And who would have thought that the song, Tiptoe Through the Tulips would be used to such effect?
It's a creepy ass song.
It sounds exactly like what a demon would listen to in hell.
Tiny Tim? Yeah, I do not like Tiny Tim.
The CGI in the hallway took me out of it, though.
Yes, I'm glad you...
I wouldn't have done CGI. I wouldn't have had him climbing on the walls. I would have had him, I think, Astroport? I don't know what you call it, but just have him
stalking,
teleport.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because it looks so bad. It does not fit.
Yeah, that's the one thing that could easily date this movie.
Yeah, just cut it. You don't need to see that, honestly.
And well, first of all, definitely an awesome design. I think it's funny that you say he's short in real life, because now I can see it.
He's teeny tiny.
Yeah, thinking back to it, I mean, obviously he's wearing stilts. He's wearing the hooves.
The hooves.
Yeah, that are probably definitely raised on purpose. But I gotta say, I didn't really mind the Darth Maul comparison. Meaning, honestly, I didn't really kind of piece it together until someone said it to me. I think I was just too enthralled by the terror of this character that it really didn't, resonate with me that this is obviously Darth Maul. So
it's a great visual.
I much preferred the description of the man with fire on his face.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would have been a bit more menacing to have him be called that, as opposed to being credited as literally lipstick face demon.
Like the handprint on Dalton's sheets, like that's supposed to be lipstick.
Oh,
and the window.
Interesting.
Oh, that's
on the window.
Because I said it did not look like blood. I told
it's
Harrison,
not blood. Yeah,
I said that's a really bad blood stain, because it looked like, to me, it looked like chalk or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sense. Okay, now it makes sense.
Interesting. See, these are things I never really picked up on, because for me, well, that's blood.
I didn't even understand the whole lipstick demon. I thought it was just the way a little kid was describing a red face. Like, how would a little kid describe a red face? Well, it looked like he had lipstick on his face,
Yeah.
Because I don't think a little kid would be like, oh, it looked like blood, or it looked like a demon, or, But I think they showed his face too much, I'll be honest with you, because back on the whole discussion, one of the things I was going to mention when we were saying about, the parts that scared us
was... Less is more.
Yeah, so when Barbara Hershey's describing the scene and they show her going down the hallway, and you see the door kind of creak open, and you see the image in the corner, and all you see is that hand rise up with the fingernail pointing. You don't see a face there. And honestly, to me, that was much more terrifying. I think the only part I would have really honestly shown his face on was the one scene where it was the red face behind the dad's head at the end. Yeah. But I think, to me, I wish they hadn't shown the face as much, because the more they showed it, and then obviously then the terrible CGI, that honestly killed the whole effect that I was getting about the fear of the character. And I was okay, you're showing him way too much.
And that's all they focus on in the sequels, is his face just pops up.
Well, I will say is that I feel like he's a wasted character, though, because the rest of the series, he comes back one time.
Much like Darth Maul.
Much like Darth Maul. Yes, much like Darth Maul, he's completely wasted. I think it's a cool idea. I do agree they shouldn't show his face as much, but they end up focusing on, of course, the woman in black, or whoever you call her.
I always called her the Black Veiled Bride.
That sounds cool. Yeah, her.
The lady from the Haunted Mansion ride. Again. Like, I kept telling Harrison, I'm like, okay, so it's the woman from Haunted Mansion. Not the orb, but whoever that was.
Yeah.
Excuse you, did you just assume their gender? Spoilers.
They, them, pronouns.
Whatever you want to call her.
I will say, though, I think genius, the sound design of the crackling, like crackling fire or wood or something. I think that's a great, like...
It's like twigs.
Yeah, when you hear that, you know he's around. And it's, I don't know, it's a really good atmospheric touch.
You see, and that's the great thing about the whole... the dream story sequence is that you hear the sound effects in the dream and it goes quiet, and then you hear the sound effects in the real world, and if you know what's coming, then you know what's coming. So but yeah, very effective villain. It's funny because they keep teasing him throughout the series, even though hopefully now with this 5th entry,
I hope he has a movie on his own. Yeah, I want the Netflix spinoff,
because I can tell you for a fact that the 4th movie ends with like one of those things where his face just pops up in the shadows and it cuts to black, and okay, well, that's obviously what the next movie's gonna, or not, because the next movie was Insidious 1. So whatever. Insidious 5,
which means she would have met him if okay.
See, Richie had that exact same like timeline discrepancy. Like, obviously she encountered him or it before, so why wouldn't she know exactly who it is and what to do?
Yeah, like be like,
time?
oh, it's that one thing on the, I've seen him before.
Step back,
Yeah.
I've got this.
They need to retitle them or something, because I'm confused as hell about the whole chronological order of these
We just
movies.
watched the second one last night. I recommend watching it just because it literally is more of a part 2 than just a sequel. Like, it literally continues the story.
Yeah.
But why would they name chapter 3 and have it be a prequel? That
A
makes
prequel.
no
Don't think about it.
sense.
Don't think about it.
Don't think about it.
I mean, they dropped the chapters for the 4th one. It's just called Insidious: The Last Key. So, but that'll be for when we discuss that, whenever we get to it. Well, is there anything much to talk about after this? I think we pretty much covered
I feel
almost
like we
everything.
pretty much covered everything.
Yeah,
Trying to think if there's anything specific.
I'm just
honorable mention. Sorry, honorable mention. Scare when not Specs, but the other one is doing the like.
Yeah.
Whatever. When he does it and you see the ghost for like a second, I thought that was pretty effective and a cool idea. I thought that was just a cool little gimmick. Perfect
segue then into the last thing we'll talk about, The Further. I liked it because I love this movie for a lot of reasons. Just because it's also a great horror movie, but also because it's a great independent movie. They did a lot with very, very little. And in fact, I just got giddy when you watched the behind the scenes on 2 things. One, how they did to do the set for The Further is they just literally put blackout curtains and huge black rolls of paper in the garage of the set of the real house. And they put fog in there and one single light source, which was the lamp.
That's
and there
hilarious.
You go.
Oh, we need to talk about the lamp. We need to talk about the lamp.
There we go.
Sorry.
And thinking back, and I think they only had one lamp because that's probably all they could afford, but the lamp is the same lamp throughout the whole movie. So
I think that's cool. I mean, yeah, and Dalton uses the lamp when he goes to the attic in the beginning.
So it's like it's the lamp that saved everyone.
Can travel between dimensions, I guess.
It's the real hero of the story.
Yes, we just didn't know.
Yeah, and the one thing I loved about it being independent and just them using what they had is the scene of the hooves when the lipstick face demon charges Dalton and Patrick Wilson's character. But it's just like a scene of a close up of the hooves, and the hooves are just kind of slam on the ground. You ever see the behind the scenes of this at all?
Are they just using like a?
Yeah,
I think I did way back when they're just using like sticks
with hooves at the end. They just and they're on a dolly, and this guy is leaning over the camera, and they pull the dolly, and someone just puts. And I'm all like,
movie magic,
adorable. Yeah, that is just terrific. Because. Yeah,
I think the name The Further is dumb.
Yeah, that lost me.
The
also.
Further,
That was
and
probably
it was
the one line that she said. I was like,
call it The Further. I'm like, okay, you call it The Further, but I think it could be a better name.
I did like the line that she
said.
said.
Place.
You know, right when Patrick Wilson's character goes into the further, she says like this. I think it was like a
a hypnotic kind of
like,
word
into
thing.
The further you go, but there was something before that kind of like was almost like a rhyme or something.
It was very Get Out.
Yeah.
You know, with the mom and the.
Oh, right. Okay. Not a.
No one will ever hear that episode. So.
Yeah, not a shared universe. Speaking of shared universes, somehow, some way, they could probably do it. Probably not, because it would probably confuse everyone. And plus, both properties belong to two very different companies. But wouldn't it be interesting if the Conjuring universe and the Insidious universe existed in the same place?
It would be weird because Patrick Wilson it's like his twin brother.
Mm-hmm. Or like, grandfather or something.
Grandfather. Yeah, you're right. It takes place, I guess.
Yeah.
Later, in the 70s, I think.
I don't know if it could ever work, but, considering
they're so similar in tone, yeah.
Yeah. And considering also that, universes are a thing now, so why wouldn't this be? I know that Conjuring has its own universe, but it would almost feel right for Insidious to be a part of that universe.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the line they put like an Annabelle doll in the background somewhere.
Yeah, which of course, if who didn't see the Jigsaw
Billy the Puppet
drawing, yeah. Which is
you know who that is, Richard?
I knew when Harrison had to point it out, because honestly I probably wouldn't have looked at the chalkboard, but yes, once I saw the image I was like, okay, Saw, so I did get that.
Okay, cool.
Richie did not see the little boy in the corner.
I didn't, because Harrison's like,
I didn't like that kid.
Look, do you see anything? And I was like, no. I mean, I saw the boy in the hallway dancing, but that was obvious, but I didn't see the...
And that was a great moment in theaters because half the theater saw it and the other half didn't. And everyone reacted nervously. And I literally heard people like, what? What did you see? What? It's like, oh, you didn't see that? And I was literally that person to Richie. I was looking over. Did you see it?
Probably because I was looking so intently, I obviously didn't see it. But you promised you were going to rewind it before I leave tonight. You have to rewind it and show me.
We will. I will.
It's easy to miss. It's easy to miss.
And that's what I find great about that, too. It's like, whether you see it, great. But if you don't, then sorry for what's coming next. Geez, I don't know. I think that might be it then, right? I guess the only thing I want to say about the further was a lot more behind the scenes stuff than actually the further. So, but yeah, haunted house makeup, not haunted house makeup, before it got turned into the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. What was that thing that the elevator that
Tower
fell?
Of Terror.
Tower of Terror.
Twilight Zone. Tower of Terror.
Yeah, very Tower of Terror makeup. With people in the further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like the sharp cuts with like the smiles and stuff.
Mm-hmm. That was I don't know. That was definitely a lot of. I think they got a lot of laughs in theaters. I was like, are we supposed to be scared? Is this too hilarious to be scary?
Well, it was funny because I obviously had no idea about the garage scene, because when I was watching it, I was like, wow. I mean, I knew it was a low budget film, and that was one of the things, was it was so successful on such a low budget. But when I watched it, I was like, okay, so they're on a sound stage with fog.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, this isn't really scary. But
and it was great because it wasn't even a sound stage; it was a garage.
Yeah. So now I'm
so
impressed.
Inspiring.
Now I'm impressed, because I totally was like, they've got him on a sound stage with no set or anything. Like, that's
and it's great because Blumhouse has this shit figured out. Low cost horror movies that make millions of dollars. But I can tell you now, it doesn't always work out. I am, of course, referring to The Darkness with Kevin Bacon, the worst movie I have ever seen from Blumhouse. And I don't know if it was Blumhouse, maybe it was, but Incarnate with Aaron, the Two-Face from Dark Knight, Aaron someone.
Oh,
Aaron
I know
Eckhart.
who it is. Yeah. Oh, okay.
You ever heard of that, Incarnate? No, it was horrible, horrible. So maybe one day we'll cover those, but it's definitely not on any of my,
When are you guys gonna make your low budget film that will make you guys like amazing stars? I can be like, I know them.
I knew them when we have.
Harrison finishes the script.
Yes, well, I mean, it started. It's just I'm finishing my film right now, and then once that's done, I'll be able to put all my attention, because I've been writing little bits of stuff here and there for, and it's not a horror. It's more of a gross out comedy not action
Splatter
horror.
fest,
Yeah, splatter.
kind of.
Yeah, so it's
Maybe
not a
like
straight
maybe
up horror.
what's it called? You made me watch it.
I always
not
say
not the Evil Dead, but
I always say
Dead Alive.
yeah, Dead Alive. Oh God, maybe not that bloody. Let's take it back a piece. I always compare it to Tucker and Dale versus Evil. So
That's a good comparison.
which
yeah.
if you haven't seen that, Richie, we'll show it to you.
Are you
It's-
guys
it's
doing a radio
fantastic.
drama too, or is that top secret? Am I not allowed to?
Whatever happened to
release
that?
I
I mean, I have the script
Yeah.
still. We
I
can
just
read
want
it
you guys
whenever.
to know every time you announce some new project, I get so excited and I'm like, oh wow, something new. And then the next episode, you guys
And then
lie.
it's like-
And you're just like, oh, never mind. We were just kidding.
There's
It's
a lot
there.
of
I have
stuff.
a I have a
Just know.
script, so
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
one fan out there that holds on to every word you say, and then you just
and we appreciate it.
make
Yeah.
me cry when you just forget about them.
It's there. It will be made, but I have to finish what I started first with Nobody's Boy. So, which we're now about 60% of the way there. So we're getting there.
Cool.
But I think that pretty much concludes our conversation about Insidious. Let's get into final thoughts. Richie, you are a guest, so you get to go first. What did you think about Insidious?
I liked it. I thought the acting was really done well, which I know isn't always the case in some of these horror movies. That I've heard you guys talk about. That's acting sometimes is not that great. I thought the acting was done really well. I thought it was scary. I'd be curious to see if there wasn't the buildup from you and Danny and everybody about this film. I'm curious to see if. I'd be curious to see if I would have been as scared if there had been no warning.
I did to you what I did to Toby.
Yes. You
I
done
talk
did
it
me.
up.
You done did me a Toby. Yep.
Mhm.
And also it was in the afternoon, so the sun was still out, and like knowing the background, like when I end up giving my rating, like knowing that there's sequels and stuff, like. If I had left the theater, I probably wouldn't have been as satisfied, I guess, assuming that, without knowing that there would have been sequels, I would have kind of left the theater kind of like let down, I guess. That's the way I feel, because obviously I haven't seen any of the sequels, knowing that the story continues and
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought overall, I thought it was really interesting. I don't want to really say I was like mortified through the whole thing or scared to death through the whole thing. There were great jump scares. It was good acting. It was an interesting story. But I kind of got the same feeling that I would get from like a creepy Twilight Zone episode or a creepy Star Trek episode. That's really how I felt at the end of this film.
Awesome.
It's valid. Cool.
All right, Toby, what did you think about Insidious?
I do really like this movie. I agree with Richard on a lot of points. The acting is really good, and I feel like the acting is kind of what keeps it together, really. And it does kind of fall apart at the end. The third act is a bit of a mess, and the scariness just vanishes. The first half is so good at creeping you out that second half does just kind of take that away and is a little bit of a letdown. But overall, I think it's a very solidly made movie. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I highly recommend this movie. Just, watch it with an open mind.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I mean, I think I had the most unique experience watching this movie for the first time out of both of you. So this movie terrified the hell out of me. No modern horror movie has really done that. So I give it a lot of credit. I think the only movie that's ever done that before, as we said, was Signs. Really, this was the movie that made me come home and sleep with the lights on, because I was so genuinely concerned, like you, of seeing a shadow figure in the corner of my room pointing his finger at me. So a lot of stuff, a lot of horror elements carried over from the movie into real life. And it's funny because I'm like speaking of this movie as if it is some entity, and in some ways it is. And for me, it sort of transcended being just an okay horror movie to something that really haunted me for a couple of nights after watching it. But now it's become a much beloved, respected horror movie made in the 2010s, of which there are not a lot of good movies made in that era that were good. So
Yeah.
James Wan always has my love and respect. I don't think I admired him as much for his work on Saw. I loved Saw. It just wasn't the movie that was like, oh, James Wan, you know. And I saw his other movies. Oh, actually, I didn't see the puppet movie he did. What was that called? Dead Silence or something?
Dead Silence.
Yeah.
The first 5 minutes, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Stop watching after that.
Yeah, 'cause I haven't seen that, and I saw Death Sentence, and that was okay. But Insidious, his work on the Conjuring movies, is really what cemented him for me as the best modern day horror director. And he even surprised me as becoming a very competent action film director, as he did one of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah.
So this man has it all. And say what you will about DC, I absolutely loved Aquaman.
No.
I loved it.
Which Patrick Wilson is also in, and
Yeah.
hilarious. Like, he
What
looks
part did he
so
play in
fucking
Aquaman?
stupid.
He was the
He
villain.
was King something. Yeah, he was the villain.
Plays the
Yeah.
villain?
He has like a man bun and everything.
Was
Right.
he blonde too?
He was blonde.
Yeah,
He
he
seems
basically
way too
looked.
white-laced to be a villain to me.
Yeah, he basically looked like Aquaman, like original Aquaman, white and blonde, and wearing the armor
Yeah.
and shit. So, but now I'm really excited to see what he comes up with next. What is he up to now?
I mean, he's directing the fifth one, right?
No. Patrick Wilson.
Oh,
is, yeah.
oh,
The
okay.
dad. He's making an original horror movie. Malignant. I think it's called Malignant.
Oh, it's another. What is this? A verb?
Another name.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
Insidious, Malignant. So I don't know what it's about, but that's all I know.
Well, depending
That's
on
next
where it
project.
is and where the world is, well, you know me, I'll be there anyways if it is theatrically. I will be there opening night or day. So, yeah, I love Insidious.
What's the rating?
Yeah,
What
do
what are we,
how many
How many lanterns?
how many lanterns? How many Tiny Tims? I don't know. What do we got here? Do you want to choose, Richie?
I like
you
the
choose.
lantern because I think we picked up on that pretty halfway through. We were like, oh, the
Okay.
lantern, it's significant.
Alrighty, Richie. Out of 5 lanterns, how many lanterns do you give Insidious?
Purely because I haven't seen any of the other films. And I really love the sound effect that you put for that 0.5. I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to literally say 0.5 out.
0.5, me too.
No,
Whoa.
no. I give it a solid 3.5. Just because, again, pretending like I don't know. Like if I was coming out of the theater the first time, not knowing that there eventually would be sequels that would tell like the rest of the story, I would give it a solid 3.5 because I thought the acting was done very well. But honestly, it kind of, to me, fell apart halfway through. It wasn't as scary as I really thought it was truly going to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
it
That's
was
still
very
respectable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Toby.
I'm going to give it a solid 4 lanterns, I think. And for kind of the same reasons. As a horror fan, I am let down by the second half because it does stop being scary. And it is a little bit of a letdown because of how spooky to me it was for the first half. So that's why I'm going to give it a 4. But I still think it's a very solid movie. I do recommend it. So 4 lanterns. for me.
Awesome. Well, yeah, same thing. I too give it 4 lanterns out of 5. I feel that maybe you guys were expecting a 5 out of me.
I was.
But again, it's not a perfect movie. I see its faults. I could see how some casual viewer would be sitting there being like, astral projection, really? You lost me, and then just tune out. So I can see that. I can see, it's a lot to take in, and it asks a lot of your suspension of disbelief. It asks you to go pretty fucking far with it. So
To the further.
it asks you to go to the further. So, but yeah, 4. I would compare it to my rating of, From Dusk Till Dawn so many years ago. I bet you guys expect me to give it a 5. No, it's a movie about Mexican vampire strippers. It's a 4. This is a movie about a lipstick face demon and astral
Better
projection.
movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then they have their faults, but one day when we're not so tired of rediscussing old movies, we'll get into From Dusk Till Dawn, which, by the way, is getting a 4K release.
No, I'm not going to watch it because you're really going to see all the wires and seams and terrible.
It's going to be so
effects.
beautiful. I've been stuck with the lame-ass DVD and Blu-ray version of it, and they're horrible.
I will want to watch the Salma Hayek. My favorite part of the movie is her dance, like the best part. I'll watch that in 4K.
Good. I think everyone was going to watch that in 4K, frame by frame. But that's for another conversation. So let's close out this episode. Oh, wait. Should we let Richard do it?
Oh, I don't know if I don't know if I have it memorized. You change it every time. You always forget what sites you do and what sites you don't.
You'll do the you'll do the final gaze send out. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to us. We are the Final Gaze. You can find us on all the social medias. We are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're trying to be more active on Twitter. So forgive us if we're not. But we're actually finding a lot of nice responses on Twitter, surprisingly. So,
who would have thunk if you started posting, you get responses?
Yep. So we'll be on there a bit more. We also, I have a lot of fan posters lined up for this release, so it's going to be a beautiful week. There is a lot of great fan posters for Insidious. Kind of hard to find the artists, but so far I've gotten lucky. So we'll credit them, obviously. You can also listen to us on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Podbean. I have not heard word back from I always say fucking Napster, but it's not Napster.
Taking us way back.
Yeah.
Apple Podcast.
It's
Amazon Music.
Yeah, I haven't heard from them or anything, so it's
SoundCloud.
I want to say Rhapsody, but that can't be it either.
I think that died a long time ago.
Pandora.
Back with
Pandora.
Pandora.
It's Pandora. That's what it was.
I never used Pandora. I haven't used that in so long.
It was an option on Podbean, but apparently they don't want us, so fuck them. We have no website, so whatever. And also, this is the first 3-way on camera, Final Gaze style.
Hey, I love three. I love a
It's
good
your
three-way.
It's your first 3-way on camera,
I'll tell
Harrison.
my husband. I was doing a
Speak for yourself, Harrison.
No, the real 3-way is on our OnlyFans. Don't worry, guys.
On
It's
our
coming
OnlyFans?
real soon.
I'm waiting.
And so
I got some fresh content.
Some fresh content with the new hair.
In line with my new hair.
Your dinosaur
Lack
costume.
thereof. Oh
Dinosaur
no!
costume.
Oh yeah, show us the figure.
Oh.
Which is fitting for the t-shirt.
Yeah, Toby's fetching the figure. I can't see it.
With his Jurassic Park shirt on.
Go ahead and
Love
talk,
it.
Toby. I can kind of see it.
Is that from the original? Is that the Velociraptor from the first film?
No, he's from Jurassic World, but it's the Legacy Collection.
That is one crazy penis, let me tell you.
It is.
I was like, wow.
Those dinosaurs had fun. They knew how to party back then.
He's hung like a horse.
But
So I got him.
That'll be the thumbnail right there. Big giant raptor cock.
Love it.
That's actually Toby's handle. So
Raptor cock.
So yeah, what are we going to be doing next week, Toby? For real this time?
I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, so
It's going to be one of our Talking With episodes.
Mm-hmm. So
I'll
sorry.
be listening intently on that one.
It's going to be fun.
And yelling back at the radio, I hope. Maybe.
I feel like everyone's expecting me to just like defend the whole movie, and I'm not going to.
Yeah,
It'll be an interesting discussion, but I will defend some stuff.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to hear what stuff you defend, because I definitely... I am actually going to try and see it one last time in an IMAX theater if it is playing somewhere, because Lord knows that no one's watching it anymore. So, plus
If
I have
not,
a...
I want to watch it with you in HBO Max. If you're going to watch it on HBO Max, I would love to watch it because I've only seen it once, and I don't think I want to pay for it again. So
Yeah. So, and I still have my AMC A-lister, so that's why I'm like, I don't give a fuck if I go. But I do have a friend who hasn't seen it yet, so that's going to be interesting to see what they think about it. But yeah, I'm really excited about next week, and I'm sure you are, because as we discovered, us talking about non-horror stuff can just be as interesting. So
It can.
yeah. So join us next week as the Final Gaze discuss Wonder Woman 1984. Until then, my name is Harrison.
And I'm Toby.
And I'm Richard. And we are the Final Gaze.
Oh shit, hold on. I need to plug this computer in because it's gonna die.
Uh-oh.
Holy shit. Okay, when he comes back, start on that story, okay?
Yeah. Actually,
It was literally on 2%.
You plugged in? Yeah.
1%?
It was on 2%.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, go ahead. Bathroom.
Me too. Actually, I gotta pee.
Yeah, I'm like sitting here like, I broke the seal.
It's going pretty well, right?
Oh yeah, it's going beautifully.
I'm loving it.
I'm loving it.
Okay, he's
God bless
back.
your computer going dead because I was like, I don't know how much longer I can. I was like, how do I get this Truly's can to work?
Oh, don't worry. Bathroom breaks are always the thing on our recording
Sitting here,
sessions.
I just got like this relief, this look of relief come over my face.